Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lorna Bladen. I'm Head of Campaigns at Enterprise Nation and delighted to be chairing today's member masterclass with you all. Delighted that we have Christine with us today, the co-CEO of UENI. Christine will be sharing loads of advice on how to showcase your local business online to drive more sales, which is clearly a very important subject for us all in the business world. Today's webinar is part of a series which is forms part of the Go and Grow Online campaign, which is sponsored by VeriSign, Microsoft and 123reg. So delighted for Christine to join us today and for taking the time to share all of her advice with you. Christine, welcome.
Thanks so much, Lorna. It's great to be with all of you. I think that many of us know how it is essential to be online. But I think as this graph shows us, virtually all customers now are consulting online channels to find local businesses. And I think one very telling fact is that 9 out of 10 smartphone users in the UK are looking for local information on their phones. So while being offline is still relevant, being online is absolutely essential. So today I'm going to share with you a little bit about what I know about, which are some of the elements that help showcase your business online and how you can build online credibility with prospective customers. So some of the things I'll talk through are what goes into creating a useful website, social media pages, listing on various directories, and then how you can build your online credibility through the information you put out there and the things you do both in free and paid media. So the first step to getting online is getting a business website. I think for many small businesses and micro businesses that I work with, the initial expectation is that this will be a big investment of time or money, but it really need not be. What you need to keep in mind is that some critical information is necessary for a website to be most valuable to prospective customers. And there's some basic information that should be present. For example, business name, address, phone number, what is often referred to as NAP. Also services and prices, any deals or offers you may provide, and also reviews of your business. This graph shows results from a Google survey that highlighted, surveying customers, what is the information that they're looking for about a nearby business. And as you see, prices and the ability to compare prices is quite important, along with the other elements I mentioned. Also important are pictures and videos. This is important for connecting with your audience and, of course, telling a richer story, but it also improves from a technical perspective and from a search engine recognition perspective the quality of your website. And I think it's worth noting that, in today's freelance economy, it's actually a lot easier and more accessible to get professional quality photos and videos to enhance your website than it was even just a few years ago. I'll highlight one program that my company has actually used for ourselves, which is the YouTube Director On-Site, where if you spend £350 in YouTube advertising, which is becoming an increasingly important channel in its own right, Google will send a professional videographer to your business to film a minute-long video, and this adds a level of professionalism and credibility immediately to your site. Of course, it's not enough just to have a website with the core info and one that looks good. It's also important from a technical perspective that it is fast loading. And as we say here, 2 seconds is the golden rule. There is a very sharp drop off in viewership when your website, either on desktop or mobile, is slow loading. And there are a number of tools out there to assess the quality of your loading speed. The web page test is one I mentioned here. Google's Page Speed Insights or Test My Site. .thinkwithgoogle.com also provides kind of an audit of your site, not only from a loading page, a loading speed, but also providing you with recommendations around how you can make structural changes to improve the quality of the page and of the loading speed. Unfortunately, today the average mobile load time is 9.5 seconds for websites out there. So this is indeed often a barrier to a company's online performance. Another element is that in today's age where more than half of the web traffic is mobile and more than half of web searches for local businesses are on a tablet or smartphone, it's really important that the website is adaptable to smartphones and tablets. This is what is meant by a responsive design. Geolocalized and near me searches have doubled in the last few years, so it's quite important that when on the go websites have this responsive design. So just to recap, as I'm moving fairly quickly through these key elements for a website, it's important just to remember, ensure you have the core information captured on the website. We listed a few pieces earlier, fast loading time and responsive design for mobile use. The next element in getting online that I wanted to highlight is, of course, how you can get recognized by search engines, since, as this graph very clearly shows, the vast majority of businesses are discovered by customers through searches on search engines like Google and Bing. Now, how is this done? It's through a mix of free and paid channels, and of course this is a lot of ground to cover, but I will highlight some of the key elements here around search engine optimization, getting listed on key directories, using social media, and also paid search ads. So to start with search engine optimization, SEO, a lot of this is about structuring the information on your web page, and these are probably terms you've encountered before when setting up a website. You're going to want to ensure that there's a clear title and a meta description of your website that is adhering to the character limits, 50 to 60 characters for the title and 160 characters for the meta description. This is part of what is talked about as structured data on websites, which is really a way to match a name or some text on the website with a value that helps search engines categorize and index your content. Also talked about is on-page markup. This is marking up the HTML of a web page, and again, what this helps achieve is it allows search engines to understand the information on web pages and as a result provide richer search results. We mentioned here Schema.org. This is a project that provides a particular set of agreed upon definitions for data tags, and for local businesses it's important to mark up your HTML with relevant tags. Thankfully, there are a lot of good tools out there. Google is again offering solutions here, and they a couple years ago created a tool that allows webmasters to visually mark up on their web pages different elements and then download the HTML markup code so that you can add it to the HTML of your web page. So and you have the link to the tool there. Some other structural things you can do for your website is helping the discoverability of your site by using keywords on the web page that people are actually searching for. So keywords are really search terms, and there are a lot of keyword lists out there. Google Adwords Keyword Planner is one resource to find popular keywords for your business, business type. And the idea here is, in a very natural and readable way, to use these keywords on your web page, in your business descriptions, when you're describing your offering, your products and services, and that helps with the discoverability of the content of your site. The last kind of structural element I'll refer to here is about generating what is called an XML sitemap, and all this is really a list of the URLs that make up your site. And by listing these out, by creating this sitemap and submitting them to the search engines, Google and Bing, it makes it easier for those search engines to crawl those pages and therefore discover them. So a lot of people don't realize that it's actually important to submit such a kind of mapping of your web page so that the page is indexed on the search engines, but in fact that is a critical step to getting your pages discovered and recognized by the search engines. So few of the things we've talked about here on the structure of the website are tags, HTML markups, using keywords, creating an XML sitemap, and one other element which I introduce here is ensuring that other websites are also linking to your website. This is what's called backlinks, and this helps boost your presence on search engines. Of course, not all backlinks are equal, just like not all references are equal from other sources. And the research shows that the quality of the citations is more important than the quantity. But just broadly, listing in local business directories and online maps is beneficial for the search engine ranking of your site. One useful resource that might help you in deciding which directories to list on is it's coming from Bright Local. And earlier this year, they created a list of the top 50 location sites in the UK. Based on their influence on search engine rankings and whether those directories or those platforms accept new listings. And the top directories listed were, at the very top, you had Facebook, Apple Maps, and Google My Business, then Yahoo, then Bing, and then other directories or other sites like the Independent newspaper or Foursquare. So I'd really encourage you to check out that list for some reference. It's good to keep in mind that it's also valuable to list your business on, generally speaking, industry relevant and locally relevant directories, because that's how a number of your prospective customers, those are the kinds of keywords they may be using, and so coming upon some of those sites, some of those directories could be valuable. And some of those directories are free and some are paid. One other side note is that the research suggests that for a new business, you're going to want to create quite a number of these backlinks or citations. One stat I read was that you'll want at least 30 citations within the first couple of months of operation, which sounds daunting, but actually a number of these listings are free, and there are aggregator sites that allow you to subscribe and then get listed in multiple directories at once. So what we've talked about, what it takes to get a good website, how to optimize your presence on search engines, and now just a few words about a very important subject, which is how to accelerate your visibility on paid search advertising. This is advertising on search engines, and of course this is very powerful because customers are searching for specific things. It's intentional, and often it's very time sensitive. Research shows that within a couple days of a search, customers will make a purchase, and often they'll only be consulting 2 to 3 businesses or vendors before they make a choice. So one of the real merits of participating in paid search advertising and having an ad listed at the top of the search results is that you have that visibility and you're kind of top of mind for prospective customers when they're making this search. Search advertising allows for quite a lot of customization. So we talked earlier about keywords on your web page. Likewise, the whole idea around search advertising is bidding on specific keywords, and the whole discussion around optimizing paid search campaigns often comes back to how do you bid on specific keywords, which keywords are you bidding on, and so on. And of course, one of the very important aspects of paid search advertising is that it is locally relevant. So you can be as specific or as broad as your business can accommodate. So if you are a hairdresser whose clientele is really within 1 kilometer radius, you can indicate that when building your ads. Just a quick word, because one of the services that my company offers small businesses is digital advertising, online ads, and this is a bit of a case study for a dentist where she actually had experience on her own running AdWords and used a tool called Google AdWords Express, which is an app meant to enable the actual end user, the business itself, to launch ads in a simplified way. But unfortunately, some of that simplicity, there's a trade-off in performance. And so after not having great results on her own, she came to us, and we've had a very good experience in launching her campaign. We used a mix of positive and negative keywords. For those who have tried AdWords, these phrases will mean something to you. We've used phrase match and broad match, and also had geo restrictions on the area served, and quite importantly, we had very close tracking of the leads she was receiving through the campaign. So this has proven to be quite successful, and of course for a business like a dentist where there's a fairly high lifetime value for a client, paid advertising really can make quite a difference on the business's performance. I think it's just worth mentioning that a lot of businesses we encounter do often try AdWords on their own, and there's nothing wrong in doing that. It's just going in, one has to know that there is quite a bit of upfront time to set things up, and then on an ongoing basis, a couple hours per week of maintenance. And especially if your business is seasonal and you're changing services or you're changing offers, and really also to keep up with change in search engine practices, it requires constant optimization. So a number of businesses elect not to take that on themselves, instead to focus on their core business and to work with companies like mine that can do this service for them. A few other quick subjects just to complete the picture. Of course, one is social media, and it's quite interesting that, you know, although Facebook is really known as a very, you know, friend-to-friend, customer oriented kind of social network, increasingly small businesses are using this as the and it is the leading social media network for small businesses. LinkedIn, of course, as a professional network, and Twitter, and YouTube also accelerating in its importance. Um, just a few words about social media because it's so talked about, but with respect to small businesses, I think some of the key points to mention is that it really is a way for you to interact with customers in a very personal way. On your Facebook business page, you're able to list your products and services and prices. There are some very interesting new features on Facebook that allow you to add things like a booking feature. This is something we use quite a lot. And of course, it's a great platform to get customer feedback and to interact with your existing customer base. One of the things Facebook allows you to do is, for example, to create ads that then you publish to your existing client list. You basically upload your email list and you can send existing customers ads around offers or new services that you're providing. And it's a great way to increase the customer value of your existing base. Of course, you can extend the visibility of the ad to others in similar demographic to your customers to increase the reach. But whereas Google and Bing advertising is intentional, it's important to remember that this is quite the opposite. People are on Facebook, they're browsing, so they're not going to Facebook very often with an intent. So the dynamic of the ad is a little bit different. If you're reaching your existing customer base, though, that can be a powerful way to re-engage with them. I'd mentioned before the importance of listing on directories, and I just wanted to highlight this separately because one of the most important to be listed on is Google My Business, also on Bing, but particularly Google My Business. This will allow you to get onto Google Maps, and it's really kind of the face of your business on Google. If you've entered into the Google search bar a particular business name, I'm sure you've seen on the right-hand side a box that shows the some detail about the business, as we have on the screen here in the slide. That's called the knowledge panel, and having that associated with your business really adds an element of credibility. Even if you don't do anything like paid advertising, if you have a listing on Google My Business, you then have this knowledge panel that comes up, and you also will appear on Google Maps. If a lot of your business comes through word of mouth, it's important to have that kind of visibility because it instantly creates an element of credibility. The knowledge panel, that listing you see there, it's also a way for your customers to leave Google reviews. You can, of course, respond to those reviews, which is a very important thing to do, particularly if there's a negative review. And Google My Business is really becoming a very rich platform with innovations, it seems, almost on a monthly basis. Recently, they've added the ability to post offers on there. So yet another way to engage with existing customers and also customers coming through referrals. And then finally, just a word about tracking performance, because we've talked a lot about the different things you can do, both in terms of the paid and free channels, but before you make a big investment in creating anything, you want to make sure that you're actually measuring the success of all the things that you're doing. And so just at a high level, what you should look to measure are traffic, leads, customers, and customer lifetime value. Traffic is really all the people that are visiting your sites, your social media sites, clicking on ads, pretty much anyone interacting with any of your channels. Leads is really people who have expressed more interest, who have contacted your business in some way. Customers is, of course, those making a purchase. And then, again, important to keep in mind what is the value of the customer, not just in that one transaction, but over their lifetime. And tracking that will help you assess whether certain channels, such as certain paid channels, make sense for your kind of business. Because of course, if it costs £5 to get a lead and you convert 50% of your leads, so that customer will cost £10 in paid advertising. But if they have a customer lifetime value of £100, obviously that's a very good cost-benefit ratio. So that's an important calculation to make. Some of the tools that are out there, Google Analytics is really quite a widespread tool to analyze all the interactions on your website and different channels. If you're going to use paid ads, I would also suggest a call tracking service. This is something that helps you actually track the number of leads because the calls are actually tracked. So those are a couple of things that you can use to help with performance measurement.